on this day, Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. I'd like to turn this over to our data and analyst research, Stephanie, to review our meeting protocols.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. Good afternoon. The California Commission on Disability Access Executive Committee is now called to order on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. I'm sorry. This executive committee meeting will be on Zoom via teleconference and held at the California Commission on Disability Access headquarters located at 400 R Street, Suite 312, Sacramento, California, 95811. Per Senate Bill 189, the Bagley-Keene teleconferencing restrictions have been suspended through July 1st, 2023. Therefore, committee members are not required to list their remote locations. Members of the public may participate via Zoom or teleconference from any location. This meeting is being captioned and recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak, and speak loud and clear. The Stream Text Live captioning link has been included in the chat for your use, and staff can provide the link when asked. Public participants can use the raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak. And we will also give the opportunity for public members who have been called into the meeting, at which time they can unmute themselves. If you are attending this meeting via teleconference, please press *6 on your keyboard to unmute or mute yourself. If you would like to alert CCDA, press *9 to telephonically raise your hand and staff will call on you. To use the raise hand function, please follow the steps. If using Zoom via web browser, first click on the icon labeled Reactions in the toolbar on the bottom center of your screen. After clicking Reactions, a new window will show on your screen. At the bottom right of the screen, there will be a button labeled Raise Hand. If you are attending Zoom via mobile device, click on the 3 sideways dots labeled More. The More option is in the toolbar on the bottom right corner of the screen. After clicking More, a new window will pop up at the bottom of your screen, and you may press the Raise Hand function. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking in order to reduce noise. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA staff or email ccda@dgs.ca.gov. And I will now turn the meeting back over to Chair Commissioner Downey.
Thank you, Stephanie. That brings us to agenda item number 1, roll call, which I turn it back over to Stephanie. Could you lead us in the roll?
I will. All right. Chair Commissioner Downey.
Present.
Vice Chair Commissioner Holloway.
Present.
Immediate Past Chair Commissioner Lemus. Immediate Past Chair Commissioner Lemus. Commissioner Dr. Elhessen.
Present.
Okay. Commissioner Lillibridge.
Present.
Commissioner Dillard.
Present.
All right. Chair Commissioner Downey, all CCDA Commissioner roll call has been noted. We do have quorum.
Terrific, thank you. Are there other commissioners that have joined us today?
All right, today we do have Commissioner Jackson attending virtually. And I see Ben Conway was in, oh yes, Ben Conway is still in as the ex officio as well.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Ben Conway.
Good afternoon, Jacqueline Jackson.
Hi, Jacqueline, and hi, Ben. It's a pleasure to have you both with us. So at this point, are there members of the public that would like to identify themselves?
At this time, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay,
And
thank you.
So this is April. There are no public members present today in person.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that then brings us on to agenda item number 2, the approval of the January 11, 2023 Executive Committee meeting minutes. Assuming all have had a chance to review that, could I have a motion to approve?
This is Vice Chair
If not,
Holloway.
if there is a question. Sorry,
Holloway will second.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I don't know that we got it first. I was opening up for questions if anybody had any questions before we went to that. Hearing no questions.
Vice Chair Holloway
So,
will move the minutes.
Thank you. As Vice Chair Holloway for the motion to approve, could I have a second?
Commissioner Al-Hassan, I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Al-Hassan. So any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Oh,
Aye.
actually, we have to take do we have to take a roll call vote?
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner Downey.
Correct. Okay, I'll hand it back to Stephanie for roll call vote.
All right, thank you. All right, Chair Commissioner Downey,
Aye.
Vice Chair Commissioner Holloway.
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Dr. Al-Hassan.
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Lillibridge.
I was not present, so I will abstain.
All right. And Commissioner Dillard.
Aye.
All right, thank you. So the minutes have been approved with 4 ayes, 1 abstention, and no nays.
Thank you. Assuming no further questions, discussions on that, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, which is public comments from members of the public on items not on this agenda. Assuming there's nobody has showed up in person, then are there any members of the public joining us via Zoom that would like to bring up an issue to our attention?
Chair Commissioner Downey, I do not see any hands raised indicating a desire to speak on issues not on this agenda, and there are no public members in person at 400 R Street.
Okay, thank you. So agenda item number 4, the Executive Director report. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Executive Director, April Dawson, for her report.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. Well, welcome everyone. And for any of you who may be new voices in the room, I do see some people on the chat whose names are new to me. This is the part of the meeting where the Executive Director, which is me, gives us a high-level summary of how things are going from the staff and operational perspective. And later I will also give a financial report. So first, I just wanted to say that the CCDA wants to honor the memory of Rex Heim. Rex was one of the founders of the California Commission on Disability Access and led the California Business Properties Association for 37 years. And I had the honor of offering my condolences on behalf of CCDA about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I attended a really beautiful memorial service that was put together by his family and his colleagues. And I was able to give people hugs and say how much we appreciated all of his contributions to the CCDA. And it was a very heartfelt and jovial occasion that really reflected who he was as a person. So I really got a chance to get to know who he was, even though I didn't have the pleasure of meeting him before I was appointed. And I was able to see some familiar faces from former commissioners and others who were from the CCDA family. So I just want to, again, just publicly extend my condolences to his family and business partners and to the state of California for our loss. And I'm really glad that he was here and was able to make all the contributions that he did and make all the friends that he did. I also would like to please join me in welcoming Commissioner Sarah Ann Shapiro. Sarah Ann Shapiro is the California Business Properties Association appointee that was appointed by Governor Newsom, and she will be officially sworn into the commission on April 19th at our full commission meeting in Los Angeles. So please join me in welcoming her to our commission. And we also have a few new legislative members. I'd like to welcome Assembly Member Juan Alanis, as well as Assembly Member Matt Haney and Senator Rosalisi Ochoa Bogue as our legislative ex officio members to the commission who are new. We want to thank Senator Jones, Assembly Member Brian Manchin, as well as former Assembly Member Stephanie Nguyen, who is now a state senator, for their service. And so they gave great contributions in their years on the commission, and we welcome the three others who are joining us. And we also want to thank Senator Hurtado, who continues to be on the commission as of today, and we're really happy to have her contributions as well. I just wanted to give a quick update on our commissioner vacancies. We have one commissioner vacancy. There is a candidate who has not been identified publicly who is moving through the appointments process for the vacant governor appointee seat representing the disability community's interests. So I will update the commission on how that appointment process is moving, but someone has been identified and is moving through the process. I'm also happy to report that Commissioners Holloway and Ramirez have been officially reappointed to 3-year terms, and we're laughing because Commissioner Holloway is sitting to my left, and we're laughing because I joked that, oh, they let you back in, but but we're really happy that they did, and we're really happy that they've been reappointed. I wanted to also share that right now CalHR is reviewing the duty statement for our SSA AGPA hybrid position. We're converting our open AGPA position to better fit our needs for administrative support and special project support. So this person will be doing a lot more contracts tracking, vendor relationships, and some work with tracking how we're spending our dollars toward our contracts, as well as providing some administrative support to management and doing a lot of work with our Disability Access Education Revolving Fund partnership with DSA. And so once that is approved, we'll be able to post that position to be out to interview some great people and hopefully get somebody in here soon. I also wanted to share that I wanted to thank Commissioner Conway because he has graciously shared his intern with us from the Department of Justice. We have a wonderful intern who is now conducting cross-checking research between our portal submitted cases and state and federal filings. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, and what this will accomplish, it will help us determine the compliance rate of our inputted alleged disability access violations, as well as give a more complete picture of the alleged disability access violations in California that may not include our portal. So it'll be wonderful to help us in our outreach to all of the bar associations, as well as making sure that we know, just what our compliance rate is, and help us target our education efforts for attorneys and law firms, as well as just give us a complete picture of what does disability access compliance litigation look like when you compare what's in our portal to the state and federal filings. So thank you so much. And I'm really excited that you've been kind enough, Commissioner Conway, to share your intern with us. On the next page, what I have is conferences and meetings attended. And something that I have always done throughout my years as an executive director is just for sake of transparency, I always publicly list everyone I meet with. I won't go through everything line by line, but I'll pick a few. I have introduced myself to the new ex officio legislative members and their chiefs of staff, and I'm looking forward to setting up meetings with them. I had a wonderful meeting with Senator Ochoa Bogue's office a few weeks ago, and it was wonderful to get to know them better. I also have had some wonderful conversations with some localities about the Disability Access Education and Revolving Fund opportunities, as well as just introducing them to CCDA. I've been having a lot of really productive conversations with the city of San Jose and the city of Davis, as well as the city of Los Angeles, and also been talking to our partners at the Certified Access Specialist Institute on how we can partner together on outreach to municipalities about how they can support businesses being more accessible to people with disabilities. And I've also been really excited to meet with the commissioners that I meet with on a regular basis, such as Chair Commissioner Downey and Vice Chair Holloway. And I've had some really great conversations with Commissioner Conway and others, as well as Commissioner Claire from the state, who is the state architect. And finally, I'll spotlight that I was a speaker at the California Hotel and Lodging Association conference. And so I spoke for 15 minutes at their conference 2 weeks ago about what CCDA is, our support for businesses. And I gave some basic accessibility tips that the hotel owners and motel owners could take back to their constituencies and the places they manage, just to think about access from the eyes of the customer who's coming to stay with them at their place of lodging. And it was a really great conversation and bore a lot of really good contacts. And so with that concludes the first part of my executive director report, and I will turn it back over to Chair Commissioner Downey.
Thank
Chair
you,
Downey.
Executive Director April. Yeah.
Chair Downey, this is Vice Chair Holloway.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Director Dawson for putting this list together. Without this list, we would not know how much she is out in the community and out about in the state promoting CCDA and our work. And so I just, a lot of times executive directors don't put this kind of list of contacts and outreach out to the board. And I really appreciate this. And it really cements that that she's out there representing us and getting us a great goodwill. So just wanted to thank her for putting this list together.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from members of the Executive Committee or other commissioners?
Dr. Sue has her hand raised in the chat.
Yes, thank you. I have two questions. One of them is our attorney portal. Are those attorneys specifically dealing with disability, or are they across the board general attorneys at law?
Hi, Commissioner Dr. Sue L. Hessen. Sorry, Dr. L. Hessen. Well, the types of claims that are in, I know that you know that the types of claims that are in there are alleged disability access violations related to businesses, but I'm not sure if those law firms, some of them may specialize in more than just disability access litigation.
Mm-hmm.
I can check to see what the percentage, what obviously all of them participate in disability access litigation or they wouldn't be posting in our portal, but I can also check and see if they also specialize in other areas of the law, or if they just focus on disability specifically, or if they just focus on those types of litigation versus, Title I or other titles of the ADA also.
Yeah, I was interested about that, to see the population, the demographics across the board with that. And then the second question I had to do with the hotel conference was, and I was really interested in that. That was one of the reasons why I joined CCDA, was to hopefully work on educating and providing more guidance on hotels to being more accessible from my experience in traveling for conferences. Actually, that's why I kind of stopped doing that, because I had so many problems with accessibility in hotels. I was wondering, were they really responsive? Or, by law, they should be accessible, but what was your experience?
I had a really positive experience. There was overwhelmingly people who walked up to me before and after shared with me that they feel like they're doing that they want to follow the law, and that they are trying to educate. Some of them own franchises, and some of them own big companies, and so they've shared with me that whenever they take over a new location, they're always educating on the ADA and they seemed really receptive to what I said. I did get a few questions about, there seemed to be a theme of people reporting back to the managers or the trade association that well, if we hire a certified access specialist and they find a lot of things, does that increase our liability? Is it worth it? And so I tried to, calm their fears about that. And it certainly wasn't the overwhelming, tone of the conversation, but that was a theme of, in addition to just being happy that we were there and being really excited to promote access and wanting to promote access and follow the law. Some of the smaller business owners were worried that if they hired a CASP, it might open them up to, well, now we have to fix all these problems was a worry. And so I said, that we'd be happy to circle back with people who express that to you and talk to them about how hiring a CASP can be a win and actually help reduce your liability, and how ignoring, known access issues is never going to be something that helps you. So that was out there. But overwhelmingly, it was people really just wanted to know the tools and wanted to work with us in the future, and we're happy to have us exist.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are unaware that the process that you just explained is the good faith effort carries a lot of weight in regards to reducing liability.
Definitely. I appreciate that comment. And regarding your other comment about demographics, I put a note, and I'll talk with our portal team so that at our next meeting I could follow up with you about those demographics.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Chair Commissioner Downey. Are there any other members of the commission or executive committee that would like to address the executive director report?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no more hands raised from committee or commission members.
Okay. Are there any members of the public that would like to address this agenda item?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised from members of the public at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm trying to move along. So agenda item number 5, financial report. Sort of financial report and discussion. Let's see. So that's back to you, our executive director, April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. And in a moment on the screen, there is going to be a financial report. There are no visuals other than numbers that I'm going to verbalize. And it says California Commission on Disability Access second quarter report. And this was provided to me by the accounting and budget staff of the Department of General Services. I'm going to pay attention to the first three tabs, and I'll verbalize and give a high level view. The rest of the tab that you see before you is actually a worksheet that you don't have, that's not pertaining to this moment. And so I was able to obtain financials that were verified by DGS accounting and budget staff through the second quarter of this current fiscal year, which is good that I'm able to provide you with current year fiscal financials. So our total expenditure authority for the 2022-2023 fiscal year, and for those of you who don't know, we run on the California fiscal year, which is July through June, is $1,534,000. Under personal services, that's salaries and wages and benefits, our budget authority is $799,000. And our year-to-date expenditures plus encumbrances is just sort of another word for what we have committed to continue to spend, like through our obligations, is of the $799,000 we've been budgeted under personal services, we have spent $270,984. And as far as operating expenditures and equipment, our budget authority is $735,000. And up to the second quarter, of 2022-2023, we had spent $221,621. That's also including encumbrances. So things that may not have been spent, but were pulled back expecting to be spent. So that means that our total expenditures up to the second quarter of 2022-2023 is $492,605. And I've talked with our budget team, and that's pretty on par with where we were last year, and they expect us to not go over budget. It's common to go under budget on certain categories within operating expenditures and equipment, but the important thing is that we just stay within the 735,000 under operating expenditures and equipment. We just can't go over that final number that we've been allocated. And so we're doing well, and I continue to work with the budget team, also looking at our dashboard that's available on the DGS website. And I will continue to keep the committee abreast if there's any concerns. It's important to note that we actually do not have an internal budget person. And so CCDA is reliant on the accounting and budget staff of DGS. But we are going to hopefully be getting some more assistance in that area when we hire our SSA AGPA person to help us better track expenditures without relying on DGS's dashboard so much. And that should be helpful, as well as I'm checking into getting some more assistance just with forecasting as well, and some other traditional financial person duties that I'm used to having at other places that I've worked. But it's been wonderful working with the budget and accounting staff at DGS. They've been very helpful, and I do get my questions answered, and I appreciate them a whole lot. So with that concludes our financial report. I expect us to be on track with our spending and doing well. Thank you.
Thank you, April. With that, are there any comments from members of the Executive Commission Committee or other commissioners?
Chair Commissioner Downey, I see no hands raised in the chat right now.
Okay. Then are there any members of the public in person or virtually that would like to address this topic?
Chair Commissioner Downey, I see no hands raised from members of the public at this time.
All right, thank you. With that, then we'll move on to agenda item number 6. So that's the focus on, focus on 2023 update and discussion. So, and once again, we're going to turn this back to our Executive Director, April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. At our prior executive committee meeting, I mentioned that the executive committee, one of your purviews is to ensure that our bylaws are up to date and current. And when I came on board, I did sort of a rough review of our bylaws as well, and talk with Chair Commissioner Downey and others. And there is a commitment that every 2 years, the executive committee reviews the bylaws and recommends to the full commission edits to those bylaws. And so I suggested a timeline in which the executive committee could choose an ad hoc committee to discuss the bylaws with myself and key staff, and work with us on some edits, and then present them back to the executive committee and then to a future full commission. And so if that is still in alignment with this committee's process that you'd like to do in terms of your commitment for the every 2 years, the last read through of our bylaws was in 2021. And so my staff suggestion would be if we could pick 2 or 3 commissioners who would be willing to work with me on reviewing some edits to the bylaws and then presenting them at a future executive committee meeting to parse through, as well as then going to the full commission to get the final approval when it's ready. That would be my suggestion. And so I'm open to hearing others. And of course, Chair Commissioner Downey, it's your decision to also share what you think the process should be, and also to help appoint those people who may volunteer if that's what we go with. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, April. This is Chair Commissioner Downey. I concur with this approach. I support it. I think it makes sense for us to be diligent about our bylaws. The laws change, situations change, and we always need to make sure we're up to date with that and reflect the current need. So I'm curious if there are any members of the commission or executive committee that have any different thoughts on how to approach this, whether it be the periods of which we tackle this review or the process.
This is Commissioner Elhesson. I'm just in agreement with you, Commissioner Downey.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Lillibridge. I'm also in agreement and would gladly volunteer to help update the bylaws myself.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Dillard
thank you.
also agree.
Okay, thank you.
This is Vice Chair Holloway. I would volunteer to help out too.
Okay. I don't want to get too large a committee, and I want to make sure we get good representation across the board. Just want to be mindful of that as well.
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is April. What I heard is that Commissioner Lillibridge and Commissioner Holloway put their hat in the ring. Did Dillard? I wasn't sure if Dillard was agreeing or just saying he would help. I apologize. I couldn't catch that.
I was actually indicating I agree, but I
okay.
I can volunteer as well. I agree. It shouldn't be too many people though. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good bit to work with. Maybe we'll take it offline, and I'll consider that together with April and others, and get back. And if there are other members of the commission that would like to volunteer, you can feel free to shoot me an email.
This is Commissioner Elhesson. If needed, I'll be happy to back up to support the revisions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Elhesson. So any other, Executive Director Dawson, were there other items for this topic, or is that the full agenda item?
That's the goal for the executive committee that I in addition to all your leadership duties, I think that the bylaws will be a big effort. And so I didn't indicate any other focuses, but if there are things that you think that I missed that are in the executive committee's purview, please let me know. But I think that you'll have your hands full. And so I appreciate everyone's willingness to help with this. And please know that, staff has already started working on some things that we think, could be helpful to add to the bylaws just for procedural focuses. And so I'll talk with you, Chair Commissioner Downey, offline, and then I'll make sure that we indicate publicly who the ad hoc committee is at our full commission meeting. And this will be a continued agenda item on all of our exec and full commission meetings until the project is done. So it'll be all publicly discussed as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. So I've already taken comments from members of the commission and executive committee. Are there any comments from members of the public on this item, whether in person or virtually?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised at this time from members of the public.
Right. Thank you. So with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 7. And that's CCDA response to Assembly Bill 2917.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey.
And we're back
Sorry.
to April Dawson again. Yes, sorry.
I know, no, that's okay. I know you're getting used to my vocal stylings. It's Executive Director Dawson, and for the past several months, I've updated the commission on our response to Assembly Bill 2917, and AB 2917 mandated us to start tracking alleged disability access violations in our portal related to websites. And so in addition to the construction related alleged disability access violations, we're now required to give statistics to the state legislature and to the commission on alleged disability access violations related to websites for businesses. I should say it's not every website, it's related to business websites, as well as creating a toolkit to educate the business community on accessible parking and exterior paths of travel. And so what you have on the screen is a short synopsis of AB 2917. It says Assembly Bill 2917, and it's Mike Fong, disability access, internet parking lots, and exterior paths of travel. And I just sort of gave the synopsis that's on the screen verbally. And it is now law, and it was passed and signed into law and went into effect on January 1st of 2023. So I'll give just a brief summary of where we're at. In a prior meeting, I indicated that our legal portal was completely upgraded with the new website access violation codes. That was incorrect. I sort of jumped the gun in that it was sent to DGS to be put into the portal. We have for a couple of months now actually had, we do have live a general website access violation drop down selection. So we have been able to collect that data. So we are in compliance with the law, but in terms of accurate data to drill down into what the alleged disability access violations actually are, we needed to add some more subcategories. So for example, like, website was not accessible to screen readers, or there was too many strobe lights, or things like that, that allegedly prevented the person with the disability from accessing the website. And so I talked with staff, and the hope is to have that in a patch that will go through in May. And so hopefully we will be able to have those subcategories finalized, but we do have the ability to at least have a main category that's live now. It's just not going to be as accurate of data to parse out exactly what the alleged violations were in a way that's easily collated. So we're finishing that. We're also really excited in that we are getting to the home stretch of our accessible parking campaign toolkit. I was really proud that for the better part of 2022 and into 2023, we had 2 work groups that met and created two drafts for the construction industry, as well as ADA coordinators and business owners and operators on accessible parking. We received some edits back from the state architect's office, as well as the Office of Public Affairs. And I have created a plan and received some quotes from some interdepartmental services in order to get the toolkits, the edits incorporated and finalized so that we can bring them back to our stakeholder groups to test them, and then bring it forward to a future full commission. Our deadline, our original deadline to get all of this done is by the end of this year. So we need to have the toolkit done by January 1st, 2024. And I expect us to be well within that deadline. My hope is to have things finalized by the summer so that we could pair the toolkit with our upcoming listening forums that I'll talk about later. And that's my ambitious goal. And my hope is that we make that ambitious goal, but we are still on track with our original goal as well. So that's coming along, and we're going to be educating businesses and using that toolkit to help businesses understand their obligations about accessible parking. We're also going to be helping businesses understand their obligations around website accessibility, and we're going to be hosting some creative programming around that in the coming year. And I'll be talking more about that at our full commission meeting. And with that, I will take any questions that you may have.
So are there any comments from members of the executive committee or commission?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay. Are there any comments from members of the public, either in person or via Zoom?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised from members of the public.
And there are no hands raised in person. There is no one attending in person at this time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I want to make sure we made it through all your agenda items, your topics under that agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that report. And it's great to hear the progress on the toolkit and progress with the website and dealing with the website accessibility as well. So thank you for that report. So with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is about the high frequency litigant fund update and discussion. And again, we're going back to Executive Director April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. This is Executive Director April Dawson, and I just wanted to share with the Executive Committee where we're at with the High Frequency Litigant Fund. We have $152,000 in the fund. The purpose of the fund is to increase disability access compliance across California, particularly to businesses, and to prevent high frequency litigation. And it comes from fees that are paid related to high frequency litigation. And as of last week, when I checked with budgets, we had $152,000. And I was reminded gently that we do need to start submitting a plan to spend down those funds. So I'm happy to report that at the full commission meeting, there will be an action item, and I will be presenting to the full commission my proposed spending plan to spend down those funds. The funds need to be encumbered, that's an accounting word for, how we plan to, that we're going to pull those, how we're going to pull those funds into things like service contracts or vendor relationships, how we're going to designate those funds and promise them to be spent. They need to be encumbered by the end of 2024, and they need to be spent by 6/30/2026. So they need to be encumbered by 6/30/2024, and they will be needing to be spent all the way down by 2026, which it's exciting because it means we can actually create, as long as we encumber the funds properly, we can create a 3-year plan for our programming related to spending those funds down and doing all the things that we said that we wanted to do. And so I'll be presenting that. I have a draft plan that I've submitted that I'm going to show accounting just to double check a few things, and also just to talk a little bit with DGS leadership, just to make sure there isn't anything on the list before I present it publicly that we're not allowed to do, but I don't think there is. And it's all related to the things that we've discussed. Some of the things would be, having multi-year listening forums on a variety of topics, producing some modules related to website accessibility, and supporting our parking and website accessibility campaigns that we've been required by statute to do, and also just supporting business people that speak languages other than English or may come from countries other than the United States who may not know about the ADA and other access laws. And so I took all of the ideas over the past several months since I was appointed and put them into a plan that I'm going to be presenting at the full commission. So my expectation is that we will meet the deadline to have the funds encumbered well before the 6/30/2024 deadline. And I also put in place, I'll be sharing this at the full commission, but I have some fail safes in place that if for some reason funds aren't encumbered I will we'll catch ourselves, and I'll come back to the commission I can come back to the commission for revisions, or also check in with the commission on a regular basis and give you regular financial reports on how the funds are being spent after you approve the plan. And with that, that is my summary of where we're going with the high frequency litigant fund. And I look forward to presenting the plan on April 19th.
Terrific. This is Chair Commissioner Downey. Appreciate that report, and especially report on progress on that item that's been a hot burning thing, needing to make progress with that. It does raise an issue to me of thinking about things and sort of linking up with the conversation earlier about the hotel industry. In looking at our, getting the data off our alleged violations, that's been focusing on the types of alleged violations of accessibility regulations. And we've been getting information about different areas. We've had a lot of conversation about different communities or languages. I'm curious if we've been looking at data in terms of industry groups in particular that might be ranking high as sort of a hot spot of that particular industry. And that's really sort of thinking back to the conversation about the hotel groups. Are there any groups that might rise up from that data that might inform how and where we're spending these monies and energies as we try to pay down those funds?
Hi, Chair Commissioner Downey. That's a really great question, and I've definitely been pairing our data points with the project ideas. And so, for example, I know I'm going to be talking about listening forums next, but one of the reasons why we're going to San Jose first, and that would be part of how we spend the funds down, is because the majority of the top 10 alleged disability access violations that were reported in 2021 took place in the San Jose area or on the peninsula, and they were retail or gas stations. So we're going to be inviting those industries to that listening forum, and also when we do our toolkit outreach, we'll be targeting those communities first that come up on our data. And I was able to pull some data. I didn't bring it with me today, but when I created the PowerPoint presentation for the lodging industry, I was able to see some trends that I was able to share with them that was helpful. So I agree with you that we need to look at like what are the industry trends we're seeing, as well as what communities seem to be needing the most help in preventing the high frequency litigation and just increasing access, and making sure we put those dollars towards those communities. So I'll make sure that I emphasize that when I give my report on how I propose to spend the funds, so you could see the connection that I made with the data.
Terrific. It's great to have such rich data.
Yes.
Thanks. So this is Chair Commissioner Downey again. Any other comments from members of the executive committee or other commissioners?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the commission or committee.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments from members of the public joining us via Zoom?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie again, and there are no members of the public with their hands raised at this time.
And I assume there's still nobody there in person in Sacramento?
This is April. That's correct. We're just speaking to the Zoom right now.
Okay, thank you. So with that then, if there are no further questions on that agenda item, we'll move on to agenda item number 9, which is listening forums, updating discussions. So let's see, we're our favorite character, back to Executive Director April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. I'm excited to talk with you about our listening forums. For those of you who might be new voices at the table today. Prior to COVID, CCDA hosted in-person listening forums, and the idea was to bring the disability community as well as the business community together in different communities across California to talk with the commission, to talk amongst themselves, to really get to know each other better in a way that was meaningful, and come up with some ideas for meaningful change related to business access for people with disabilities, and to prevent expensive litigation, and to really, demystify everyone's, assumptions, and to grow and to see what was working in different communities and what could be strengthened. And I'm excited that we're going to be bringing those listening forums back. And our first listening forum, I had previously stated it was August 30th, and it was August 30th, but the date has been changed to August 31st just due to availability of the room. And so we are going to be hosting our first listening forum on August 31st from 2 to 4 in the in a couple of rooms outside of the San Jose City Hall. It's going to be in some conference rooms that are adjoining outside of the rotunda. And I have been working with city staff as well as some county people from Santa Clara has a very rich commission on disability, their disability affairs office, as well as the city has a new commitment to disability justice. And they have been doing a lot of work, hiring a lot of staff about how to ensure that their city is accessible and welcoming to people with all types of disabilities. And so they're very excited to partner with us on this listening forum. And it is going to be moderated by our very own Sarah Ann Shapiro. And Commissioner Shapiro, or incoming Commissioner Shapiro, is an attorney that works in the San Jose area on business access issues. And so she's going to be a wonderful moderator. So we've met about 4 or 5 times as a small committee between the county people, the city folks, as well as myself and Sarah Ann Shapiro to plan this event. And it's shaping up to be a very diverse and exciting forum. And I will keep you updated as the other, I'm hoping to have the other dates finalized in the coming days throughout the other regions. And I will be able to have more on that at the full commission meeting. But I'm very excited about this first forum and our partnership with the city of San Jose and the county of Santa Clara. And I'm really excited to make sure that the local governments, the people with disabilities, and the business community in those areas, strengthen their relationships with each other through those forums, and that CCDA really listens and comes up with ways to support those communities in the work that we do. And I'm also excited to engage other commissioners as we go regional with the other forums, as well as either moderators or small group facilitators or speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director April Dawson. It's a great report. I'm excited to hear about progress on that, and really excited to hear that we're going to have this first listening forum in San Jose and Santa Clara. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we've had a listening session there in that area. And given its high propensity for litigation, it's high time we be there and reach out and work with that community. So thanks for that. Any other comments from members of the executive committee or members of the commission?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and we have Commissioner Dr. Elhassan has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I wanted just to ask, are we having it videotape for access for other or participation for those who can't attend in public for the forum?
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Elhassan. I should have mentioned that this will be hybrid, so it will be in person as well as on Zoom. So I apologize for not mentioning that. So yes, it will be hybrid, and we've been talking about how to make sure that we're not that we're fully integrating both the Zoom and the in-person participants in the discussion.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. The other thing is, I was wondering, Is there a way that it can be videotaped that maybe we can place it in the future on YouTube as an ongoing info sessions about what we do through CCDA?
I will check into that. I think my only concern about it being recorded is if any of the participants want to share things that they may not necessarily share at a Bagley Keene public meeting. But of course, our work is public, and we want to be transparent, and we want to utilize these forums for the future. So I'll take that back to the planning committee to see what they think about whether we should record it. I see what you're saying about what the value would be in recording it. I just don't want to give us an answer, a firm answer yet, without thinking about all the caveats, just making sure that people feel safe to share how they feel, so that we could gather the data and aggregate the data in a way that they might feel more comfortable with it not being attached to a certain name. But I'll check with them and see what they think, and update you and get your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. That would be great. I think people find a sense of commonality in regards to that they have the same problem as others, that they're not unique in the situation. So I think that would be great if possible. But I understand your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, Commissioner Downey, we have Scott Lillibridge with his hand raised, or Commissioner Lillibridge.
Commissioner Lillibridge?
Yeah, I might have been briefly distracted. But what did you mention what the main topic or focus of the listening forum will be in San Jose? In the past, they've had a focus, whether it was ADA parking, what have you, restaurants and that type of thing. I'm curious if there's going to be a emphasis on this one.
That's a great question. So that we've come up with a couple of preliminary discussion questions in our planning sessions, and what we'd like to do is Commissioner Shapiro came up with the idea that when people register, they actually send in their questions to us. That it's going to be, the focus is going to be on the fact that there's been some high frequency litigation, and we want to find out, what, particularly with the smaller businesses, what have been your challenges? And then on the disability side, what have been your challenges with accessing businesses in that region? And so it's going to be broader, but it's going to be within our purview of business access compliance. And so we want to sort of find out from the people who are attending, what are your challenges, and what questions do you want to be asked or answered? And then also we have a couple of guiding questions, such as, what is the city and county doing to strengthen disability access compliance? What are the strengths? What's working? What could be improved? And then also asking businesses and people with disabilities, from your perspective, what's working and what could be improved. And so it's really about sort of drilling down into how the region feels that they need support and building their capacity. And then for future forums, when I've been talking with different regions, some of them do want more of a focus like parking or restaurants or things like that. But San Jose really just kind of wanted to just kind of see what people needed, and to, keeping it within our purview, but making it maybe a little bit more broader for this one, and building relationships locally, and then having CCDA use the data to inform our statewide work. But we've also built in some time at the end, and this is preliminary because we're still in the planning stages, but we've also been building time at the end for sharing resources such as the accessible parking toolkit and things like that. And we will share about what CCDA is and some of the data points that we collected too. But it's in this planning stages, so if you have suggestions, I'm happy to hear them.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Chair, Commissioner Downey, I'd like to suggest that in sort of queuing this up for that area, to sort the data specific to that community, so that we can go in advising them what we're seeing in the reports, the reported litigation of where their most high frequency areas of concerns are. I think it'd be interesting for us to bring them information from the data that we have access to.
I'll definitely include that and make sure that we have a portion of the program that talks to them about the data. I think one of the things that has been positive when I started these conversations with the different communities where we want to do listening forums, and San Jose's just gone a little bit further in the planning than others, is that they really would love for us to come and put our listening ears on and say, you know, can we just take some time to hear what your challenges are? And we want to share the data and we want to share resources. And what I'm really hearing from those communities is that can we share with you from the local level how the state commission can help us? And can we share a little bit about our community with you? So I definitely want to hold space for both the sharing and also the listening. And I think that we'll be able to strike that balance.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Downey again. Yeah, agree with that bias heavily to the listening side. So, any other comments from members of the executive committee or members or other commissioners?
Chair
If
Downey.
not,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, assuming that they're not, ask if there are any comments from members of the public that are joining us virtually.
Chair Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the public at this time.
No late arrivals there in Sacramento, I assume. So we'll move on to agenda item. Agenda item number 10. So that's the annual report update and discussion. And again, it's back to our executive director, April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. I'll be brief. I just wanted to update the commission that one of our legislative mandates is to present our top 10 alleged disability access violations to the state legislature. Technically by January 31st every year. We all know that January 31st is sort of an imaginary deadline, and there's a couple of reasons for that that we run into on a yearly basis. And part of that is that our data set doesn't end until December 31st. And so a month is not enough time to gather all of the data. And we've communicated that to the legislature and to our partners, but right now we are at the final editing stage within the staff level. So at the staff level, we have a nearly complete report, and we're just at the stage where we're verifying the data and the edits. And I just want to give a shout out to staff, particularly Abigail Ridge for her leadership on that, as well as Phil McFall and Stephanie and Presley, just the hard work that goes into that annual report to the legislature every year. And so we're at the final stages of the staff editing. And then next we're going to submit it to the Office of Legislative Affairs within DGS, as well as the DGS Deputy Director of our division that we're nested in, to get their comments before it gets forwarded onto the legislature, and then it'll be officially sent to the legislature. And so it's moving along, and we're finishing it up. And I think it's going to be a really good report. And of course, we're going to share, of course, it'll go before the commission, and we'll share it with you as well. And so that you could see what the new trends are and what all of us have been working on. And I also want to thank the commissioners who've contributed stories to the year in review as well. I think it's going to be a great document. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Chair Commissioner Downey. Are there any members of the executive committee or the other commissioners that have comments on this agenda item?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the commission or committee.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public that are joining us virtually that would like to address this agenda item?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the public.
And I'll continue with the pass from the phantom members of the public there in Sacramento.
Yes, Chair Commissioner Downey, no one has joined us in person.
Okay. Okay, it brings us to agenda item number 11. And that's addressing the full commission hearing coming up in a couple weeks. Updating discussion, again, led by Executive Director April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. I'm excited to just remind everyone that we have a full commission meeting on April 19th from 10 to 4. It'll be hybrid on Zoom as well as in person at the Division of the State Architects Regional Office in Los Angeles on Grand Avenue. And we really want to thank the state architect, Commissioner Claire, and her team for being so gracious to allow us to use that space. And we're really excited. And also for everyone who helps us with our Zoom to ensure it's fully accessible to people in other regions who can't get to LA, or for if they have a disability related reason for not being able to participate in person. So that's been great as well. And I just wanted to share with you all that I will be contacting individual members of the executive committee by early next week, because there is going to be an agenda item where the chairs of each subcommittee shares what they've been working on in their committees. And I can assist with those reports, but I want to make sure it reflects your words and that I'm not just telling you what I think what you should say. So I'll be calling each of you to help craft that part of the agenda so that each of you will have a few minutes to share what you've been doing in your respective committees. And I'm excited about that. We're also going to be having some really rich discussion, and I'll also be talking with commission members this week and next week as well, just to prep you and make sure we have a rich discussion. We're going to be having a really great discussion about website accessibility and sort of what the challenges have been on the ground, and how can CCDA be the best resource, in light of the fact that we have these mandates legislatively to provide businesses with suggestions for how they can be compliant to people with disabilities. We want to have a discussion in the public sphere about how CCDA can be best positioned to do that as a commission, given our resources and what our abilities are, and then how to bridge those gaps that remain. And just also kind of talk about what's the landscape for alleged disability access violations related to websites. And we're also going to be having a panel discussion in the afternoon. We're going to have a representative from the Cal Chamber as well as a representative from Disability Rights California, and they're going to be talking about statutory damages and just what the current landscape of high frequency litigation is, and how that plays out on the ground with their stakeholders, and how we can proceed in a way that makes sure that we maintain compliance, educates businesses, ensures access to people with disabilities, and doesn't pit communities against one another. So I'm really excited about this next meeting. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I'll also be presenting as an action item the high frequency litigant fund use of funds. And there will be another action item related to the business listing that we're required to create as part of our AB 2917 obligation. And I'll share more about that at the full commission meeting, but it'll be a one-page resource guide sort of adapted as sort of in miniature from our accessible parking campaign. So I'm excited about that too. So you'll have lots to consider, and it'll be a robust discussion. And I look forward to the individual conversations I'll be having with commissioners in the coming days about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director April Dawson. It's a great report, and I'm excited to be there in Los Angeles in a couple of weeks for this next hearing. Are there any comments from members of the Executive Committee or other commissioners?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the committee or the commission.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Are there any comments from members of the public that are joining us virtually?
Chair Commissioner Downey, this is Stephanie, and there are no hands raised from members of the public at this time.
All right, and running with the assumption, still nobody in Sacramento. So with that,
That's
we'll
right.
move on to agenda item number 12, future agenda items. So does anybody have any agenda items they'd like to propose for a future commission hearing or executive committee hearing? Any comments on this from members of the executive committee or commissioners?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised from members of the commission or members of the committee.
Okay, are there any members of the public joining us virtually that have expressed interest in commenting on this agenda item?
Chair Commissioner Downey, there are no hands raised from members of the public at this time.
Okay, thank you. For April and others there in Sacramento, are you all still lonely?
Yeah, we're not lonely.
Okay.
Commissioner Holloway aren't. We're okay, but we're running the
Okay,
room over
thank
here.
Okay. Okay. So this is a reminder, the next full commission hearing will be on Wednesday, April 19th, and from 10 to approximately 4 in a division of the state architect and sorry, their regional office, South Grand Avenue. I think Gabriel already gave us this address. So Suite 2100. So with that, we'll move on to agenda item 13, motion to adjourn. So could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Who was that?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Elhessen, so moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Commissioner Lillibridge, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Then we'll have to go to Stephanie again for a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Downey. So Chair Commissioner Downey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair Commissioner Holloway? Vice Chair Commissioner Holloway?
He said aye. Sorry.
Oh, apologies. Commissioner Dillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Elhessen?
Aye.
Commissioner Lillibridge?
Aye.
Okay. Chair Commissioner Downey, all commissioner votes have been noted, and I will pass this to you.
Stephanie, I'm sorry. Has Commissioner Lemus joined us? I didn't.
Commissioner Lemus has not joined us.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Sounds like the motion is passed. So with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And look forward to seeing everybody in